Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to shock you because 50 Cent is pulling the curtain back on something he says was too explosive even for Netflix. We're talking secret allegations, old grudges, and a personal line that, once crossed, changed everything. This isn't just industry drama. This is history, ego, and revenge colliding. And by the end of this breakdown, you'll see why 50 says this has nothing to do with clout and everything to do with disrespect.
Out of all the women in the world that Diddy could have gotten, he chose 50 Cent's baby mother.
There's a lot of variables to this particular question. Because I talk to a lot of people, older, younger, even my daughter, who's 22, she didn't understand it. So people give their opinion based on what they've experienced and their environment, people they've been around. So to the people that understand boundaries and respect, I always tell men you should never date another man's girl if you're not aware of it. If you know it, then it's wrong.
This is where the story stops being casual commentary and turns personal. People keep asking why 50 is willing to go this hard, this publicly, and for so long. But TK Kirkland is pointing out a hard line hip-hop has always respected. Out of options, Diddy allegedly went after someone directly connected to 50, not random, not accidental. In this culture, that's provocation. Once that line is crossed, it stops being business or ego and becomes about respect, boundaries, and resentment boiling over.
But he went after the baby mother of one of his rivals.
Exactly.
Someone who had been taking shots at him for years.
Absolutely.
On purpose.
And he went after her knowing that they had beef.
Right. And slutted her out.
Slutted her out.
Just slutted her out.
Slutted her out.
Having a whole basketball team run a train on her. And just the whole thing, right?
Totally agree.
Right.
But his reputation from when he worked at Uptown, I'll be sure's girlfriend.
Oh, Kim Porter.
Kim Porter.
Right.
That's his reputation.
I'll be sure his baby mother.
Baby mama.
Yeah.
Then Eric Serum, his friend, the one that had his baby, Mia. So he's had a reputation of going after people.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend. He got a baby with her too?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point that I'm making to the men listening, well, if you don't understand this, then you're just poorly educated and don't really have common sense. It's a no-no. There's no way I would go after Vlad's ex-girlfriend.
Right.
I'm so loyal that if I met a woman and she said, oh yeah, I stay Vlad, I can't f with you.
Right.
I won't even put my, excuse my language, because that's how I move. Other people don't move like that, but you see me in Paris, you see me all over the world. Why would I want to do that to mess up a relationship?
What makes this hit harder is the pattern being laid out in real time. This isn't framed as one messy situation. It's described as repeated behavior. TK isn't just criticizing one decision, he's questioning intent. When someone with unlimited access, money, and influence keeps getting involved with people tied to rivals, it stops looking reckless and starts looking deliberate. That's why people aren't shocked. They're nodding. When history keeps repeating, it stops being rumor. It looks planned.
I seen an interview about, he said that he had a lot of footage had to be down, the documentary had to be downsized. You understand? I don't really believe that, because a documentary is a documentary. And they could have had 45 minutes, they could have had an hour, to each one of those. You understand? They left out certain things. He said they even left out the one about Sarah Chapman. You understand? And for whatever reason, he probably left out a lot of other different stars too. Situations that they could have spoke about. You understand? I have a problem with the documentary, and I'm just gonna let you know that the reason I have a problem with the documentary is that they know that they took my idea. You understand? They know that when I came to them, I laid out what they should do and how the documentary should be. You understand? She can say whatever she want to say. I talked to those producers before I even talked to her. They wanted to know what I had, what I was bringing, my pictures, all that stuff like that. And I told them about me, Tim, and Kirk. You understand what I'm saying? And how it would go. they did the same thing. This ain't the first time they stole from me, man. You know, if you look at the Notorious Big, if you watch the Notorious Big, that part about the shoes, I had that in my book. And I was talking to K.O. Coker. He was one of the writers of that movie. And I told him about when I let Big use my shoes at Soul Train Award. You had this old flunky ass dude, Mike B, get on Angie Martinez's show and talk about, yo, Big, he wore mix-max shoes and he went out there and performed. When you go look at the film, you go look at Big performing that on that show, ain't nothing mixed match about them shoes. There was $800 Morris, size 14D. Big wore a 14E. E means that his shoes is a little wider than mine. He struggled, but he put them on and he went out there and performed. Those was my Gators that he had on. You understand? They did a little skit trying to disrespect me in the movie. You understand? And they said something about, oh, we got from Big Tex.
And now the spotlight shifts not to Diddy, but to the documentary itself, because praise doesn't cancel criticism. Gene Deal's frustration cuts deep here, especially for people who understand how these projects really get built. He's claiming the structure, the concepts, even the angles weren't original. And if that's true, it complicates the narrative. Suddenly, the question isn't just what was exposed, but who controlled the story. When documentaries start feeling selective, people naturally wonder what was protected and why.
And I heard he's gonna put it on YouTube or do whatever he's gonna do. Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do with that. Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do to try to stop that because he can't. Because if he could stop it, it would have been stopped. You know why he can't stop it? Because Puff know people right there at Netflix. Don't think he don't. And I don't know if this guy still works for them, but he was part of the Flavor Unit, Shaq Kim. He was part of the Flavor Unit. He was good friends. He was cool with Puff and them. Flavor Unit and them, Queen Latifah and them, they was cool with Puff. If Puff would have sent a cease and desist over there, and they could do it, and he had the power and they wasn't right, it would have been done. You see, it's still rolling, right? It's still going on, right? He ain't got that power no more. You understand? Now, could he sue them because they used his likeness or used them and stuff like that? I don't know. I'm not that versed in they using him. You understand? If they can steal your whole damn idea, your whole damn idea, why can't they steal your whole damn intellectual property?
This is where the power conversation gets uncomfortable, because Gann isn't just talking about footage, he's talking about influence. The fact that this documentary stayed up, kept streaming, and never got legally shut down sends a message. Either the claims weren't stoppable, or the power dynamics have shifted behind closed doors. And in the entertainment industry, silence often speaks louder than statements. When something this explosive keeps moving forward untouched, people start assuming doors that once closed don't anymore.
I did see the interview that 50 did with Sherry, and he was talking about he didn't release the video about Puff having a kid by Kim Porter's friend, Sarah Chapman. Now, we all know that she used to date Tupac. You understand? So either he got her because he wanted some remnants of Tupac. We don't know. But it seemed like every dude that he had some kind of disdain, dislike, or that he idolized in a sense, he wanted their girl. Or he wanted to be a part of their girl. I don't know why. Yo, bro, this dude was, I don't know if he was in love or in hate for Tupac. He wanted to be an actor. He auditioned for Juice. But Pac beat him out for that Bishop thing. You understand what I'm saying? He wanted to be a part of that. Just go, and not so many years ago, when Puff started getting into that drugs and started using drug stuff, he started revamping some of Tupac's speeches. And if you think I'm lying, Go look at the Grammy speech he did. Go look at a couple of speeches he did. It was the same exact words Tupac had said. That he was gonna start this whole revolutionary of our people. That's Tupac. Black Lives Matter, the Black Liberation Movement, that was Pac. The Black Liberation Movement. Black Lives Matter? Come on, bro. This dude, everybody know that he had some kind of, I don't want to say disdain taste, but he had some kind of, I don't, jealousy of Tupac, bro. He had this jealousy of Tupac.
For many viewers, this is where the documentary felt the most incomplete. Kim Porter wasn't just a footnote. She was central to Did's life, his family, and his inner circle. So the lack of depth doesn't feel accidental, it feels intentional. When someone knows everything, the personal, the business, the secrets, their absence becomes louder than their presence. And once people start believing that information existed but was avoided, it naturally raises the most dangerous question of all. What wasn't safe to include?
Do you think that Diddy Kim Porter?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because of all the videotapes, because of the book, because of all the people she gave copies of her book to, or at least chapters, because of everything that she had on him, because of the tape that she used to blackmail him into a relationship and into a raise of him being sodomized by Andre Harrell. And I did not say that allegedly because I heard her and Kim Porter talking about it in the booth of the bathroom while snorting cocaine at the Kit Kat Club.
It was alleged that she did have a book and that her book was about to come out. And she was talking about all the perils, everything that she went through in the music business and with Diddy. All the men that they slept with together, because there were men that they slept with together. There were swinging times that they slept with together. I don't know, man. How do you put your girl through some shit like that? Or how do you look at your girl and knowing that she to another dude? What kind of demonic mind you have to be that far gone where that shit don't bother you? And got rid of them. They swimming with the fishes.
Wow, man. So she was about to expose all that in her book. Yeah, I'm sleeping with men again.
She was gonna expose everything. I heard it was tell all.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Just curious, right? Did you know that Diddy and Kim had that type of relationship back then in real time?
Yeah. Because I know somebody personally that lives in Atlanta that was swinging with them. And I would never mention his name because he's a good brother and he knows my family down there. You know, he knows my family down there. And I would never, put his name out there like that. He's been in the music business. He done put a lot of groups, A-listed groups out there. Especially A-listed groups from Atlanta.
It was the other day they just did a whole thing with the girl that he was dating was the one that was putting the wiretaps and all of that out. It was a clear case. She came, okay, hey, I was the one who was doing the wiretaping and all of this, right? The tapping. So I knew about this before she came out and said that she was the one that was doing it. I was sitting there like, damn, he know everything she doing. He know her conversation. I'm sitting there like when I'm sitting there right there next to him when I'm hearing them saying, this is what Shakira Stewart was saying to Kim Porter on the phone that made him mad. That made him so mad at Shakira Stewart when he went to L.A. Reid party, hit him with the chair. You don't think if he hit a man with a chair for dating this girl, they gonna have a fight at home too. You know what I mean? That's why, they say he busts her nose up on the boat. And have you ever been to San Tropez, see a brother play a mandolay? Remember that was in his song? I need a good woman next to me. So then it happened in San Tropez? Like that island. And then he bust her nose. They said they tried to make it seem like she slipped and fell. She slipped and fell and broke her nose. Nah, the truth was she slipped and fell and landed on his fist. Yeah, but that's what happens when you put your hands on females. I don't really have much respect for a man who's physically abusive towards women, man. I kind of think they be kind of suspect. I'd be like, man, girls fight girls.
What are your thoughts on all the his celebrity friends that denounced those allegations and were like, this is false, and
liars.
Should they speak up now?
It's getting a little too late for those who are complicit. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. All for Justin Bieber.
At this point, the conversation stops being about fame and turns psychological. Jaguar Wright isn't just accusing, she's tracing behavior back to environment. When someone grows up surrounded by chaos, blurred boundaries, and unchecked access, those early experiences don't disappear with success. They evolve. Control, surveillance, obsession with power, those traits don't come from nowhere. And when multiple insiders describe the same patterns from different eras, people start asking whether the industry created this or simply enabled it.
God knows what he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up, involved, looking around, seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like her house was a house of, professional freak-offs. So who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life.
Oh yeah. He was. I'm gonna say he was surprised to hear that.
School bus. No, was he surprised or was he like, Zippy, you talking too much? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting there, because I was a bus driver and I was this, and I worked at the after hours. And I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips.
In Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say, that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler, or that's what you heard that he was.
Well, I mean, like Tim said, they had a bunch of blaxploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like, I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got two women in the house and there's no men around, and these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over, PIMPs coming over, women who look like they were modeling for Jet Magazine coming over. Like, it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure for him it was, oh man, that's who my dad was. So I'm sure for him, it made him feel good because all of that stuff that he was watching, he really came from that. Like, that was really his legacy. And yeah, I'm sure for him it felt good to know that his dad was this big hustler who turned out to be a snitch, who got his brains removed. from his head in a very, very, very unpleasant way.
For the situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother. Can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, all of that. I mean, somebody asked the question, what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom. The same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth. The same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor while she's standing up. Bend over.
Oh damn, I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video where he was talking about how his mom was still young and spry and how she still liked to party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video. He was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms.
No.
It's a very, very, very weird relationship.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of goes into, I mean, he seems to be having, and again, I know the freak offs, that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Oh, yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved, it didn't happen. If Lori Harvey was hanging out, and it's kind of weird, like the whole relationship with Justin looks weird. He looks like Mini-Me with Dr. Evil. It's weird. Like, why are there people? Why is there sexual behavior going on? And why are people naked in front of their kids, G? Doing all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, Misa's running around making comments about how she don't like the way that Eric Sermon was depicting her in the documentary. You don't like the way you're being talked about in the documentary. You don't like the fact that, because see, it wasn't Gene Deal, because Gene Deal said he wasn't there, and thank God that he was able to admit that. Kurt Burrows did say that he was there and present when Diddy was beating the brakes off of Misa. And